Cuban pastors group was telling me they hoped Castros never die, and that Cuba never opens because an invasion of Americans coming to save Cuba will begin and take credit and swamp everything that God has been doing in the meantime. That happened in the Soviet Union. Every pastor I know was going to the airport to meet the people who were providing money for services and now wanted to preach in their pulpits, have their pictures taken so that back home they could be seen as having come to rescue the Russians. What will you do to strengthen the church here to be ready for the invasion from the West?
I think the time for invasion is over. We had that in the early 90s. And I will tell you, because in the churches, in the Armenian evangelical churches here, we had mainly people who had struggled for their faith. They were not willing to accept such preachers. It was as easy as that. And plus, again, the presence of diaspora.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The existence of diaspora, and the fact that in the diaspora we had well-established Armenian evangelical and not only evangelical structures, helped us to organize our communication and relationship with different missionary organizations and different missionaries coming to the country through these structures. So therefore there was no an individual inflow of savers to the country.
Okay, good for you.
Yeah, we were able to avoid that. Though
Yeah.
there have been a couple of instances, but I mean, when you have only a few cases, it's easier to identify who is who and prevent further damage.
Georg, maybe if you, sorry for just a follow-up, maybe we should also say that part of our problem was that these individuals who came and started things, society confused them with the Armenian Evangelical Church.
Yeah.
Everyone went under evangelical, so we were paying the price. And as you said, people like me and others, have been coming to Armenia, but we're ecumenical people. We're people with, structural experiences and so on, which was a very different picture. But then some individuals started works, and it confused us even, and I mean, in society, and people started mixing up everything with everything else.
I will continue what Paul has started to say. Even now, when you read in the newspaper or hear on TV, Armenian evangelical, it could include Armenian evangelical, us, it could include Armenian evangelical Baptists, Pentecostals, Charismats, who else? Even Jehovah's Witnesses, Brotherhood, Brethren, Mormons. Anyone who is not an Armenian Apostolic is considered to be evangelical. So there is still this confusion within society, though in the beginning of 90s it was much more evident. Now that people are better informed, so to speak, about the different denominations and different streams that exist in the country. You had a question, right?
Yeah, I was curious about the current relationship of the Armenian Evangelical Church with the Armenian Apostolic Church. Initially, you talked about being sort of starting in the East by being kicked out.
Yeah.
How does that look now after?
Well, of course, after the anathema of 1846 at 150th celebration of the 150th anniversary of the Armenian Evangelical Church, which took place here in Armenia, in Yerevan, the Catholicos of all Armenians, the head of the Armenian Apostolic Church, was present at the celebration and gave an address to the congregation. Not openly apologizing for the sad developments that took place in the 19th century. He didn't apologize, of course, openly, but the way he presented himself and the way he addressed the congregation was to say that, sorry, we made a mistake. At this point, the relationship, I would say, are in a standstill period, so to speak. In 90s, we had quite warm relationship during the previous Catholicos. who had an evangelical education himself, and he was an ecumenical person. Hopefully with this Catholicos, the things will smooth down also. But we still have at least 3 different areas of cooperation with the Armenian Apostolic Church. We have Genesian Memorial Foundation, which provides support for Christian education programs and summer camps.
PCUSA program.
Yeah. It's an endowment, I believe. Endowment fund made by Genesian, an person of Armenian descent, and each year they provide some support for summer camps and for Christian education programs. And the governing board is composed of 3 churches: Armenian Evangelical, Apostolic, and Catholic Church. Armenian Bible Society, again, on the board we have Armenian Evangelicals, Catholics, and Apostolic. I'm a member of the boards for the Bible Society. And we have also a small ecumenical credit organization called ECLOF, which provides some small and medium-sized grants and loans to farmers, to different small and medium enterprises. Here again, we have on the board the 3 churches. And of course, the World Council of Churches Roundtable Armenia, where we also have 3 churches present. I mean, but I wish the cooperation would go outside of the formal circle, and we would also be able to implement some, I would say, spiritual programs, such as reach out programs or Bible study programs. We have potential. They have people. If we combine the 2, Armenia may become the paradise on earth. Yeah, that's where we stand now.
As it was?
As it was, yeah.
I love your vision. When you gave the numbers, I'm sure that many would say you need to grow more, is the first thought. But I really liked your emphasis on quality and on taking the church outside of the church and ministering in the community. And I firmly believe that if you do those, the degree that you do those 2 things will determine the growth. That was just follow. But I'm just curious, because of your own history, are you, do you represent a minority view in the leadership of the church in taking that position? Are there other pressures saying we need to grow, or is that kind of the common vision of the church?
I wouldn't say I represent minority. Paul was sitting next to you and was saying, I am with you. Yes. We have, at least in the leadership of the church, we have people who share this view and this vision.
It's wonderful.
Of course, there are also others who think that you need more and more and more, you need numbers, but I mean, it's usual. But I would say the mainstream is rather sharing this vision. That we need first quality, we need to establish, we need a foundation to build a building. I mean, you can have a high-rise building without a foundation, and it will collapse at some point when you put up probably the next floor. But if you have firm foundation, you can go as much as you want. So we believe we need the foundation. Then we may decide how many floors do we need.